I call this city council. I call this meeting of the Lawndale City Council to order. I call on the city clerk for roll call.
Whatever you want.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguiar Montani,
Present.
Council Member Tena,
Present.
Council Member Rodriguez,
Present.
Council Member Cardenas,
Present.
Mayor Morel,
Present.
So we, how are we going to do roll? Just did we do this?
Now we'll have the flag salute. Councilmember Elias will lead us in the flag salute.
Put your right hands over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call on Pastor Beamer to lead the inspiration.
Please join me now as we look to the God of life and liberties. Heavenly Father, be pleased, I pray, in the magnitude of your mercy and kindness, to grant guidance in the proceedings at hand. I beseech you not because of any goodness in me or anyone present, but on account of our weaknesses and infirmities. Great wisdom may be needed in order to handle the affairs of the community in a right manner. This day, compassion and understanding and discipline may all enter into the making of important decisions by this council. And your grace and empowerment from the vastness of your perfect character and comprehension of all things is then what is required. So if you would answer this prayer of your servant and bless this assembly with tokens of goodwill, and be exalted in the hearts of those who have heard and agreed to this simple but solemn petition, I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
So,
We're going to skip the public safety report for right now, and I ask the city clerk items for from the city clerk.
I'd like to just take this time to thank everyone, all of the teachers and the staff for letting us students take part in this. I personally have never participated in a mock trial like this, so this is a really exciting time for me, and I'd just like to take the time to thank everyone.
Thank you for your remarks. Now we will move on to the oral communications. If anybody has a concern they'd like to voice, please come up to this. Any items that are not on the agenda? Okay. Please start with your name.
Luis Leal. I just wanted to ask you guys, what are you guys doing to help the homeless people in the streets?
We will answer your question after everybody has spoken. Thank you. Is there anyone else?
My name is Alexis Bagley, and I want to know on the concerns of safety for not only the city, but students on their way to and from school. I want to know on the same issue about homeless. How will it be ensured that students are safe on their way to school, at school, and returning home?
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. I have a concern of how you guys are going to protect me and my family from loose dogs. Thank you.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I will have a concern of how you guys are going to protect me and my family from loose dogs. Loose dogs. Loose dogs.
Thank you.
These are cops.
I'm Lenore Bemis. I live in Lawndale. And I would like to see all the youth learn something about their yesteryears of Lawndale. We have a historical group here, and they're open Wednesday, Thursday. And if you got a hold of them as a group, it would be nice if you could come over and learn what happened in yesteryear. I would like to see something done on that, if someone could start something on that.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and Council, Mr. Teal, 5454 153rd Street, long-term resident of Lawndale. I love being here. I occasionally have great honor of visiting the Community Development Department and the director there. They run a great department. And so I'm before you today because I'm concerned. I have a concern. Every day I come in, when I come down to pay my bill or my fees, I see these young youth hanging outside with nowhere to skateboard. And I think it would be good if the mayor and the council would agendize an item to put before the commission and the committee to discuss a future potential location for a skateboard park. I mean, the closest location of a skateboard park is further away. It's over in the east of the city here and the county here, and it's just too far for all the kids to travel. And they're constantly out here, and there's nowhere for them to skate really, and it's not an appropriate place for them to skate. So it'd be good for the mayor and the council to consider a location for a future skate park. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh.
Is he an occasional guy? Is he an occasional person? Is he an occasional person?
Good morning, council members.
Good morning.
My name is Stephanie Iveland. I'm a former resident of the city of Lawndale, 4037 West 169th, and now a resident of the city of Gardena. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here and would raise a concern as a breastfeeding mother. While I'm at the city of Lawndale, I would appreciate a private and clean area to pump for my child. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address this body? Okay. So now we are going to close public comments. And now we will see if there's any response from the council members. And now we're going to start with the now we're going to start with my first council member to my left.
On the homeless issue, we had, I think it's state path. It's state funded. It's called path. Recently we did a homeless county deal. We turned that into the state. We can pass these on. The stray dogs. We can contact
Well, I think the stray dog meeting, that can actually be taken care of by, obviously by, yeah, or, animal control. Yeah, but like, I think it's also the residents' like obligations to actually call, to call.
Council member to my left, are you ready? To my far left, are you ready to comment?
Can I talk about this?
You can talk to me about it. First, thank everybody for spoke.
So for
Thank you everybody that spoke.
I want to thank everyone who spoke today, and for the homeless people, we actually have a state-funded path. It's called Path, and it's funded by the state, and yeah.
Present them, so we go off and hand information to the homeless. If they want help, do not want. Just tell them this information.
This information is actually available to the homeless, but we've actually added questions to them if they actually needed help, and most of those homeless people have not asked for help.
You want to speak up a little more, or just pass it on to your colleague to your right?
I'll pass on the next question.
The colleague to your right.
Oh, to my right.
Madam Mayor, we pass it on.
Thank you for your comment. Next council member in line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody that presented their concerns. Towards the concern about safety schools, I would like to address that to the sheriffs and see what would they have to do with schools being more safer, along with better systems and better security. And patrolling those hours before and after.
Just like Bernadette speaking.
So I'll repeat myself. Thank you to everybody who presented their concerns. Towards the concern about safety schools, I would like to address our sheriffs to provide better solutions for better safety systems at our schools and patrol them before and after for school hours.
Thank you. Next council member in line.
All right, first I would like to thank our deputy for being here today. Thank you for protecting our city and keeping our community safe. I want to start off by addressing the concern brought by Mr. Teal today in regard to the skate park. Sir, there is a skate park here. It's near El Camino College. And would you be willing to pay higher taxes in order to fund this project?
You won't get reelected, dude.
At a later time.
Oh, thank you.
And I would next like to address the concern brought up by Miss Eleanor, I believe it is. Eleanor? There are 2 history books, as it has been brought by my attention, regarding the city history. If people want to learn about the history of our city, which I believe we all should, these books are available to the public, and I think we should take our time to read them. I would also like to go on to address the issues regarding dogs being loose on the street. I personally haven't seen any, but if there is the case, we do have animal control programs provided by the state and local governments, which are designated to address this issue. And perhaps the most important issue was, as 2 of our fellow citizens have brought up today, the issue of homelessness in our county and in the local area. There is a method that was passed by the government of the United States, which was known as Measure H, passed by the county government, which provides services and cleaning to the homeless. And there are several other programs, not only at the local level, but also at the national level, designed to help these people. And we need to promote education regarding these programs instead of simply telling people to get off the street and get jobs. And according to the Department of Management here in Lawndale, there is an expansion in commercial use, and this will provide jobs for the homeless, allowing them to not only be assisted in getting out, but we need to help them get jobs and help them put themselves on their feet. We cannot only give them jobs, we cannot only hope that they get out, we need to assist them in building their own future, and these commercial jobs will allow them to do so. I would like to pass the time to the next council member.
Thank you very much. Next council member.
Well, I would like to first thank everyone for speaking, and to address a comment made by Alexis, I would like to the safety to and from school. I would like to say that we have crosswalks implemented already so that students can safely cross from the right to the left or left to the right, however it may be. And the crossing guards there to help the students in doing so, especially the younger ones. We also, for homeless individuals who are near these areas where students walk that may cause problems for the students or whatever it may be, we ask that they report it to the school immediately so it can be further looked into by not only the city but our police department and sheriff station. And then in regards to the public area for pumping, for breast pumping, oh my gosh, I don't know what that's called. But we ask that you use clean restrooms I believe those can be used as an alternative for now. Clean restrooms can be used, and we will be having our council will assign an individual to do research and bring it to a future meeting to be addressed then. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is that so now I will call on the lieutenant. Oh shoot. Okay. So, hearing everybody's concerns, I have a couple things I'd like to say. So, for the skate park, I'd like to say that we didn't have enough funding to fund a teen center, so I was thinking we could use those funds to build a skate park within the city boundaries, because there is none within the Lawndale city boundaries. As for the history of Lawndale and making that more accessible, I would love to go down to the museum and see how we could, and discuss with the employees who work there, how we can get more advertising and make it more known that the Lawndale Museum is there. And as for breastfeeding, I'd like to say that some places do have breastfeeding, like specific places, but I would love to also speak with whoever I can to see how I can make that more readily available for mothers who are going through that. Thank you.
Now announce that you're going back up to the public safety report.
So now we are going to go back up to the public safety report, and I call on the lieutenant. Mr. Lieutenant.
Good evening, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, and members of the City Council. I'm here tonight to present the public safety report for
Excuse me,
April.
can you speak a little louder, please?
All right.
Thanks.
Let's do this again. All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here tonight to present the public safety report for April 5th through April 12th, 2018. Let's see. On April 5th at 8 o'clock in the morning, Deputy Chappell and Ledesma contacted a victim who said a male Hispanic pointed a gun at him. The victim said the suspect was driving erratically and swerving from lane to lane. He pulled up to the victim's vehicle, yelled at him, and pointed a gun at him. Oh my. The deputies were unable to locate the suspect that day. However, on May 30th, Deputy Chappell conducted a traffic stop of a vehicle matching the description of the suspect's vehicle. The driver of the vehicle was the wanted suspect. Deputy Chappell arrested the suspect, who was cooperative. On April 10th, Deputy Smith detained the driver of the car with no license plate. In the course of his investigation, Deputy Smith learned the car was stolen. He arrested the driver, who was cooperative. While searching the driver, Deputy Smith found a shaved key, which is used to aid in the theft of cars by defeating the ignition key system. Deputy Smith also found burglary tools, numerous items used to make forged credit cards, and several identification cards in the suspect's car. This concludes my report, and I would be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Thank you, Deputy, for your report. And if there is any council member who would like to speak, do so now.
Thank you for your report.
They don't have to, so no one's signaling. You just
So, thank you so much for your reports. If there is no one who would like to speak, we will move on to.
So now, just tell them that item H on the administration, and just say a discussion to
So now we will move on to our discussion pertaining to campus safety at Lawndale schools. Let's have the report.
Honorable Mayor and City Council. Currently, there are 9 schools located in the city of Lawndale, comprised of 4 elementary, 2 middle, and 3 high schools. Recently, there have been a significant and increasing number of tragedies as a result of unauthorized intrusions onto school campuses by individuals looking to do harm to innocent children.
Since January of 2018, there have been 20 school shootings incidents in the United States in which a firearm was discharged. In 8 of those school shootings, innocent victims were either killed or injured. The vast majority of these shootings were caused by unauthorized individuals encroaching onto school property armed with deadly firearms. Most feel as though these incidents are preventable. It has been reported that some parents are so concerned about the safety of the students that many of them have held their children out of school for fear that their school could be attacked. The discussions about increasing campus safety usually comes down to dollars and cents. School districts and state agencies have debated where their funding will come from to incorporate measures and safeguards that will protect the students from unauthorized individuals with intent to do harm getting onto school campuses. Ideas such as providing teachers with handguns as a means to protect the students have been at the forefront as of late, as school districts search for solutions of these serious nationwide problem.
Staff recommends that the City Council, 1, discuss current campus safety practices at the 9 schools in Lawndale. 2, determine if current school safety practices are satisfactory or in need of improvement. 3, discuss untried campus safety methods and ideas that will make school campuses safer than they have ever been. 4, discuss methods of financing for the implementation of new campus safety measures and practices to protect students in the Lawndale school districts. And 5, consider citywide legislative measures that promote school campus safety and the well-being of Lawndale students.
So for example, you want to do fire alarms, you should do a safety practice. Maybe what they should do something, they should review what the procedure is for if it happens. Review current safety practices. To see where the inefficiencies are.
put it together, or they're just out there?
Does that conclude your report?
My suggestions.
Yes, that concludes our report.
Thank you.
I would just talk about safety.
Is there any council member who would like to comment on the concerns? Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to first say thank.
Are you a staffer? Why is she there?
She's a finance.
Why are you at?
Do you want to
Comment? Person comment?
Okay, let's take some public comment.
Okay. Yes, we will take public comment at this time.
So, as a resident here and someone who goes to schools here, I would like to say what would you guys do for our public safety for school, for the mentally ill people around schools and how they, I don't want to say harass, but they are around and they're kind of uncomfortable for school kids. You know, it's not safe, and also about like we spoke earlier about the homeless and them being around and what's gonna happen about them being at our parks or finding drugs and that type of stuff in parks for kids. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Let's have some.
Okay, so any council member?
Okay,
go.
So in regards to the letter, we are working with local districts in a joint venture to address this issue. Recently, we've spoken with the Centinela district to see how their procedures and what they've been in talks to address this issue. So I do know that they have been implementing new lock systems for their doors and going over existing procedures in the case of an event were to occur. I know that they're pushing for the spread of kindness because kindness does not kill, especially in a situation like this. Could be the solution to a problem and the way to avoid steps that would lead to us needing to address such things as a school shooting. We're also sharing the message. I know that the district has been sharing this message. They recently did a walkout last month, which was a big thing about school safety and being able to enact and speak and use their voices to prevent such things and have the districts hear them out. And we are... The district, for the mentally ill comments, I would like to say that the district already, Centinela has programs implemented to work with these students who cannot, whether it's a chemical or something that cannot be helped, that it's just something that we have people working in on that. And in regards to the teachers with issuing handguns to teachers, I would like to ask our deputy what the accuracy rate is for your men. Mm-hmm.
We don't have that information at this time, but I'll research and I'll let you know.
Perfect. Well, I would just like to state that these are trained individuals who go out and have obviously the ability to use a gun and are trained to use the gun. And so how do we expect teachers who do not have any training to be armed with a gun? Obviously, we would need to implement something to train them, which would cost money. We would also be asking them to do something that is probably not in their original agreement or in their paying range, what they're paid for. I feel that teachers are paid at a certain amount, and would you really arm them and give them a gun when they weren't originally asked to do that? They were asked to come and teach. Mm-hmm. So we will do more research into that and to see alternate approaches to that, and that is all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Oops. Any other council member who would like to speak? Go ahead.
He does, yeah. You want to do it
now? Yeah. So I have some recommendations, like specifically for my school. We are talking about safety precautions because of school shootings, and we were able to see that our locks were not actually placed well, because the only way to actually lock yourself within our classroom is to lock it outside. So I think it's something that needs to be, I guess, enforced, better laws. And also we should create awareness, such as report outlandish behaviors through that is shown publicly or even through social media. We should educate students to actually also help out both, I guess, the authorities or I guess our council members to know if any student is actually showing any signs of like behaviors that can actually lead to a stressful situation like that.
Any other council member who would like to make?
Expanding to his recommendations, I personally agree because we also, as Sentinel Valley School District, we need to look more on mental health resources, especially for people who have depression. And also, I know in my school we have a school psychologist, and that hasn't been really informed or been known. So a school psychologist who is known to help work with these kids who have depression or who have bipolar disorder, any type of mental illness would be fine. So a school psychologist who is well known would be a form of a mental health resource for those who have these mental illnesses.
Any other council member who would like to speak?
Once again, I would like to thank our deputy for ensuring that these terrorist activities do not take place within our school district or in our city as a whole. I'm sure everyone in this chamber, both council and citizen alike, can agree that terrorism is a true and very real threat in our day and age. But our local schools have implemented reasonable measures to deter students from engaging in such criminal activity. In fact, all 4 CUHSD schools here present today have deputies stationed on or near the campus, and this does serve as a clear deterrent towards these terrorists, because that's what they are, and they should be treated as such, terrorists. And the truth is that while terrorism is indeed an issue, we cannot wait till these terrorist activities have already occurred. Our schools have implemented disciplinary measures which are designed to punish students that engage in these activities. But why wait until after it has occurred? The issues at hand are a psychological issue. And as my fellow members on the council have mentioned, there are psychologists at these schools which can provide services to ensure that students get the support that they need and require, and will also help prevent these activities from happening again. Aside from this, all 4 CVHSD schools also have, aside from the trained deputies, they also have dogs that are trained to pick up drug and gunpowder residue, which could prevent school shootings from happening. And the truth is that by implementing and in continuing to fund and enforce these policies, the truth is we can avoid these terrorist attacks from happening. However, I would like to bring to the attention of everyone in this chamber that this is an issue that should not only be brought to the eyes of the city, but should also be applied to the school districts. Not only CVHSD, but the Hawthorne and all neighboring school districts, including LAUSD. This is a national issue, and it is not just an issue in our city, and it is our responsibility as citizens to ensure that these terrorists are brought to justice and that such horrible actions never occur again.
Thank you very much. I would like to say on the basis of arming teachers would not only bring the problem into an actual school, but the funding to actually get the teachers the guns and to train them how to use them could easily be put back into the education system, because schools are understaffed and schools and teachers aren't paid as much as they should be. So the money that we could use to arm teachers and do that could be just put back into the education system to get more teachers to make sure they're well paid. And on the issue of getting, the whole issue with guns is we as a city do not have the authority to allow anybody to carry. That authority does not lie within any city. That authority lies within the state. So even if we did want to arm a teacher, we would not be able to, and the school board would not be able to either, unless it was approved by the state. So now that we have heard the recommendations these recommendations, how would the council like to proceed?
Is there any motion to carry the staff recommendation? Sometimes you got a problem, say,
Is there any motion to accept the staff's recommendation?
sometimes you can, if you don't respond, you can prompt them to do something, usually what you want. Yes, you can.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
All right, I'll make the motion.
I second it.
So the motion has been.
The motion has been made in second. Is there any discussions?
Seeing no more council, please vote. Seeing no more discussion on the council, please vote.
What's the recommendation?
Council, please vote. Point of clarification, so she asked for a point of clarification.
So what do I say?
So now you want to clarify the motion. So you understand the motion? So just tell her what was the motion.
So what do I say?
So you just tell her this, what the motion is. Remember what the motion is?
Not
If you
on
don't
teachers.
ask the maker what was the motion to clarify his motion.
What was the
Point of
motion
order.
to clarify the motion?
Ask them to clarify the motion.
We want to know what the recommendation is?
Yeah, to proceed with the staff recommendation regarding improving safety practices at our local schools.
Then you get kind of see if you want any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
Any further discussion?
Okay, since seeing that there's no further discussion, I shall ask the council to take a vote. Okay, so
Motion approved unanimously.
So you think city clerk?
thank you, City Clerk.
Yeah, so now then we go to so we finish with that item, so then we'll go to this item. So you will say, the next item on our agenda is the city manager's report.
The next item on our agenda is the city manager's report. Do you have anything to report?
I do. I'd like to remind the city council and the residents to come out in 2 weeks on Saturday, April 28th. I don't have a student, but I have a report.
What the heck?
But to come out on Saturday, April 28th for the annual Youth Day Parade at 8:30 in the morning. Bring your bikes out, your walking shoes. We'll have an open street for an hour, and at 10 o'clock the parade will start. And just come out and enjoy a real wonderful day. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Mayor.
Thank you.
And then you can go, when it was this, then items from the city council. Now this one we start from the end and go, skip yourself.
So I think.
No, you just say now, no, just say we're having the city council.
So now we will move on to the items from the council members.
So what is the financial status for the city of Lawndale?
So we have an annual revenue of 15 million and we also have expenses of 15 million. So we have a balanced account of zeros. And we have 20 million in our savings.
Thank you, City Council and students for coming to this meeting.
Next.
Thank you.
Next member in the council.
I learned about the discussions presented, and it was very intriguing to learn more about these solutions, so thank you.
Next council member.
Well, I know it might have sounded like I've said this a lot today, but I want to thank my deputy once again for keeping our city safe. We can't thank you enough, as much as we can say it. I would also like to thank for everyone, both adults and students, for being here present today, because the discussion regarding gun laws, as people that may be underage, not myself, but I know several people in this chamber are, we often feel like we do not have a voice regarding these issues, and we have had an opportunity to participate in our nation's government, which is a value that many of us do not know how to value today. I would like to thank all members of the council for making these discussions possible. I would like to thank my school for giving me the opportunity to come here, especially Miss Iveland for helping me get here. But most importantly, I would like to also say, go Olympians.
Next council member.
We got 2 down there, don't worry. We'll count it as 1.
You're good.
No, you just go.
So I would just like to say thank you for having me as your mayor for a town meeting. This is a really new experience for me because I'm not very good at like talking in front of a bunch of people, and and this is really like one of my passions. I really love politics and I love being involved in where I live, and thank you for like giving me like the opportunity to see how everything works, and it only makes me more passionate, and it only inspires me more to want to do what I do. And I'd like to say thank you, Ms. Jennings, for letting me come here, and I just want to say go Cardinals.
Yes. Give them the time, so they'll kind of know.
The time is now 12:09, and I adjourn this meeting to next Monday.
Yeah, let's give us a real round of applause for all these students. I think virtually every one of them participated in one way or another. Thank you.